Today, the flagship entry-level Ferrari is the 296 GTB, but of course Ferrari in their modern era never used V6s before. Instead, all the so-called entry-level cars had the rather famous Ferrari V8. I'd like to start measuring this era from the Ferrari 360 Modena. This era featured such cars as the Ferrari 360 Modena, Ferrari F430, Ferrari 458 Italia, Ferrari 488 GTB, Ferrari V8 Tributo, and the Ferrari 296 GTB. The Ferrari 360 Modena is the first modern designed entry-level car from Ferrari, in my opinion. It has a 3.6-liter V8, and the dynamics are unamusing for such a car, with those being 4.9 seconds to 100, top speed of 295 km per hour. This car was sort of a new era for Ferrari, as I told, a new era of V8 entry levels with modern design, and as well this was the first car that Ferrari has fully made out of aluminum. This Ferrari is one of the cheapest modern Ferraris that you can buy, if you can call 80,000 euros cheap. The engine was named cheap to maintain, but I really don't think for a Ferrari that's the case. And it was even overpriced at the start, so apparently that's entry level, but it costs 120,000 euros. As many journals state, this car is absolutely flawless. Its engine is a 3.6-liter V8, which is naturally aspirated. It came with a 6-speed manual gearbox or Ferrari F1, and it was rear-wheel drive. The car looked absolutely elegant, a lot of smooth lines matched with sharp angular ones, especially in the back, and it really looked revolutionary. The next thing that Ferrari has output is the F430, a replacement for the Modena, and the next car in the V8 entry-level list. As fun as the 360 is, the F430 actually revitalizes you, because the F430 possesses a quality that the 360 did not have: actual speed and swiftness. As expected from a company like Ferrari, it really used some parts from the 360. Its 0 to 100 time is roughly 4 seconds, and the top speed is 315 km per hour. The car was, as the 360, available with a F1 transmission and a 6-speed manual. Surprisingly, the F1 transmission outsold the manual, so they are really rare now. An interesting thing about this is that the engine has 8 cylinders, but the flat plane design is really 2 forced cylinders sharing the same crank. Each bank has its own sensors and computers, almost independent of each other, so this car basically has 2 inline force in it. After a bit of experimentation with the 360, now Ferrari was really confident with releasing these V8 models. And you can really see that it was similar in the design to the 360, contrary to the next car, Ferrari's magnum opus in the V8 era. Ferrari 458 can be a very great balanced city exotic, but with the traction control off and on track, it is hard to call it tame. It won't forgive you for your mistakes, which are quite easy to commit because of the insane wilderness of this car. The performance on this thing is outright insane. It's a track monster. It can compete with such supercars as the Lamborghini Aventador while still having a V8. Ferrari has really pushed it to the limits, and they have really got the formula of making an ultimate supercar. So all this performance comes from a naturally aspirated V8. It has an acceleration time of 3.4 seconds and a top speed of 325 km per hour. This car was much better performance-wise than anything that Ferrari has ever output. I mean, a revolution in this class. Ferrari did push the powertrain to the limits. Absolutely. Or did they? This was a naturally aspirated car, so basically the car was at the limit of anything naturally aspirated that Ferrari has made. The next car had something else, something more powerful. The Ferrari 488 had a 3.9-liter V8, now with 2 turbines. It was even faster, even more refined, but it has lost a bit of its soul from being aspirated. The Ferrari 488 was yet another groundbreaking car, fastest V8 in Ferrari's production history. Its numbers were quite great too, only 3 seconds to 100, but the top speed stayed the same, 325 km per hour. The design was clearly a modernized 458 and it looks absolutely lovely. The 2 turbines really help performance-wise. The steering is also sublime, and even with the traction control off, the car feels more tamed and balanced. It even competes with cars like the 911 GT3 RS. It was named one of the most, well, top 10 technologically advanced cars that have ever been produced. However, it was rather short-lived. It was released only for a span of roughly 4 years, contrary to the 458's run of 6 years. But I'd guess this wasn't enough for Ferrari. They have decided to mark the 45th anniversary of releasing V8 supercars and make the Ferrari V8 Tributo. They use the same powertrain as the 488, just more powerful, now at an astonishing 710 horsepower. It's more of a high-performance supercar than a normal one, approaching the hypercar area, with 2.9 seconds to 0 to 100 and a top speed of 340 km per hour. It had a lot of assistance that helped to make this car for the most people, even who are not very skilled to drive, so the car is more forgiving for your mistakes, with slip controls, variations of stability controls, and etc. It was the swan song for the era, and Ferrari really decided to go out with a bang releasing this. I am quite uncertain with their new lineup, but clearly, the line of cars that I have covered before, the same position, continues with the Ferrari 296 GTB. It has an absolutely great design, however there is one large nuisance. Being a Ferrari, this car has a V6, a 2.9 liter V6, the same one they probably used in the Quadrifoglio. Don't get me wrong, it has great performance, well, aside from being slightly less powerful than the F8, but besides being a V6, it is now a hybrid. I just don't understand how such a large brand, with such an image of a great revolutionary supercars, which were always pushed to their limits, output this, with an excuse of new technology, while in actual reality, it is just a cover-up for an end of an era, caused by stupid emission standards and other factors. You clearly won't see anything like the 458. It seems like the V12 line is more important for Ferraris. Now the V8 models are considered higher tier, the SF90, so the brand has a quite complicated hierarchy. Of course, being a Ferrari, it's not bad at performance at all. It has great steering and it is absolutely very swift, but has it lost most of its soul? The answer is definitely yes, and this is definitely an end of an era.